What's going on, guys? Welcome into another episode of Money Moves. We are back with all things stocks, real estate, personal finance, and a little politics. As always, Matty A, my co-host, Mr. Breedwell. What it do, brother? How we doing?
What's up, y'all? Doing good.
I am feeling fresh, feeling recharged. I had a nice little birthday getaway with the boys in Tulum for about 5 or 6 days out in Mexico. Have you been to Tulum?
Oh, yeah. I haven't stayed in Tulum, but I've been to Tulum.
You've been to Tulum?
Yeah, because when I normally go down, I stay in Playa.
It reminds me of the kind of like Miami, Beverly Hills.
The construction last time I went was overwhelming, so I didn't like it so
insane.
much.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's everywhere.
And it's weird. The road that you drive in on looks so fucking ghetto, and then you get there, and it's, wow, there's a lot of money here.
You wouldn't even be able to drive like a Ferrari or a nice luxury car. The roads are so terrible.
What stone can I put down that works road? It's worse than a cobblestone road.
The infrastructure is terrible. The experiences, though, I mean, they had the day clubs and they had the dinner, luxury dinner type of events that are all high-end experiences.
Straight guarded by armed guards, which is also interesting.
Yes.
2 or 3 right at the
amount of
entrance.
money, though, in that little main strip right there was wild.
Yeah, it's just, I want to see it when it's done.
It was a scene. I don't think I would go back. Personally.
What did I tell you before you went out? I told you I don't like that.
Yeah.
I didn't like it that much. It was super expensive, too.
Insanely expensive,
Yeah.
especially for Mexico.
Yeah, that part. So I'll tell you what. One of the main reasons I go to Mexico is value on dollar.
Yes.
The experience for the value that you get. Like when me and you went for the week last year.
Dude, I was
we
just thinking
struggled to spend $2,000.
I was thinking of La Cocina, how amazing their food
was.
was.
Yeah, I'm going back there in PV.
And how cheap we were eating there versus some of these places. Don't get me wrong, it was cool experiences, and they had like fire shows and acrobats and all kinds of the sparklers and all kinds of crazy stuff. But the food was good.
Did everywhere make you put your shirt on for dinner?
The nice places did.
You remember that?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we were turned up.
We were a little worse for the wear and did not have any shirts on.
We still made it work though.
Of course,
we went in and bought some
terrible shirts.
That was great.
On. Yeah.
But yeah, so it was great. I got to do the jungle gym. That was fun. We did some.
The wooden one.
Yep, that was cool.
Put Alex in the basket.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah,
that little basket overhead pull.
And then we did some cenotes. We went into these little mine villages. We got like the locals experience too. Lots of relaxation. It's got the woo vibes out there and a lot of energy healing, all that kind of stuff. But I was ready to get back, and we got some, maybe not too. Last week was more big stuff.
Yeah,
and a lot of it came out after we recorded, right?
And
so
it was
we can recap a little bit on where PPI came in, where CPI came in, where initial claims, unemployment, housing starts. This week we have FOMC minutes.
Yeah.
We've got some updates on the GameStop meme stock craze, as well as a few more important earnings coming out this week. We'll talk about that, rate cuts, potential, always looming discussions in this crazy time we're living in around recession talk.
Oh, there it is.
Your favorite. So we'll dig in on that. If you guys are new to the show, welcome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We tap in on all of the current events each and every week to help you on your wealth building journey. As well as if you enjoy the show, all we ask, the best way to support is to just take 60 seconds, leave a review. It means the world to us. And don't forget to check out millionairemindcast.com with all the great stuff that we have. If you do have a financial portfolio that you do want an X-ray done on it,
come on over.
Feel free to text the word X-ray to 844-447-1555. You can connect with Ryan and his amazing team. It's a full-blown comprehensive report that they do for free for our Millionaire Mindcast listeners. So if you guys want to know if you're being overfeed, properly allocated, the list goes on and on, this is a great way that you guys can connect with Ryan and his team and get some additional resources and insight. All right. So,
damn.
Yeah, that was some housekeeping, right?
I think I saw a vein pop out in your jaw.
That was like the Jim Carrey where he takes one long, deep breath and he just keeps talking. So, some news headlines this week. We've got World Economic Forum founder and executive chairman Klaus Schwab will be stepping back from his role running the global gathering since he founded it in 1971.
Wonderful.
I don't know about you, but he's definitely not one of my favorite people on planet Earth. I would put him in the bucket with Nancy Pelosi.
I would put him in the.
Maybe
I would
even
put him
worse than
lower than
Nancy.
Pelosi. Yeah, Pelosi's just like Martha Stewart in politics. She does insider trading and doesn't get caught for it, though.
Oh, but she sucks more than her policy. And
Of course it does.
yeah,
But
Martha
Klaus
Stewart,
Schwab-
I like Martha Stewart. She just got caught trying to
she
make some
got
dough.
she got caught, and her brand value like quadrupled over the next few years. So yeah,
That's true.
They gotta love Martha Stewart. Shout out to MT.
And
Or MS, excuse me. I don't know why I said MT. Yeah. Remember we talked about it like a year or two ago. We were saying, hey, and I was like, I'm not super worried about that guy. He's super old.
He's 86 or 87. He hasn't identified his successor yet. He did note that.
Yeah, just he's very old. So the old people are not scary to me. They're just a ticking time.
But he's got a globalist agenda that ultimately ties into globalist policy, which finds its way to trickle into...
No bueno.
Yeah, I was going to say politics, which those politics and policy impact our pocketbooks, right? So something to pay attention to there. Big news that came out this weekend, Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, I think I'm saying that right.
Yep.
Helicopter crash, found dead along with the prime minister and some other people. Depending on how you feel about that and I've talked with a handful of different kind of people that are tied to Iranian politics. It seems like pretty much every single person I've talked to is like ecstatic about it.
Yeah, he was a pretty bad. His nickname was the Butcher of is it Tehran or something like that?
He was putting people.
Yeah, he's not a good dude. So you know what? I hope he saw the mountain for a few seconds before he hit it.
There you go. You hope he has some time to actually. And I think, are probably going to see some instability in that country in the short term,
bro.
They might overthrow the government.
Did you see the celebration by all the people? They were like lighting fireworks. They were dancing. They were doing all sorts of stuff.
Wild times. We've got Trump and Biden agreeing to 2 debates. Biden, come on and flex. You want to debate me?
Yeah, I saw them.
I'll take you behind the barn or whatever he says normally.
He was like, they took 36 stops to make a 45-second
Sometimes
video.
I even wonder if that's like some AI deepfake shit.
It could totally be. When we were down at my conference in February, they recorded me doing just a couple things, and then they could just tell it what to say, and it talked, moved, acted just like me, looked just like me.
Crazy.
You'd have no idea.
Yeah. So supposedly they're going to be doing it on CNN and I think MSNBC, but there was all kinds of rules and regulations and stipulations they had, and Trump said, I'll agree to whatever you guys want to do. You got to agree to this one stipulation.
He's got to take a drug test.
He's got to take a drug test. He was like, that guy was high as a kite Trump is just the ultimate troll. Whether you love him or hate him, there's never been a politician that can troll better than him.
No, he's pretty epic. Because he says whatever he wants.
He doesn't help his case. I really think that in so many ways, if he found a little more diplomacy in his delivery, he would get so many people to meet him where he's really trying to get them to.
Yeah.
Because a lot of his policy, in my opinion,
is great.
Is very strong compared to a lot of the reasons that people are starting to shift more centrist or to the right, because the policy on the left has shown to be very ineffective and non-beneficial to a lot of citizens, a lot of industries, our economy. But that being said, that'll be fireworks, in my opinion. That's primetime TV.
I think that's going to be one of the best debates ever. They really need to have a live audience there. I think that makes things fair for both sides. And yeah, I think that was probably one of the stupidest things they could have ever done. It's like they find a hole and they just go grab a shovel instead of a ladder. And it's funny because I don't think any sane person would say that in a live debate, moderated by a bias or non-bias, Trump is going to win.
Oh, yeah.
That he just
he can get up there and riff for an hour and a half with no teleprompters, and Biden saying 4 more years, pause.
It's not going to be.
He can't even read off a teleprompter, let alone when you got someone like Trump coming at you in a live debate. Trump is like the ultimate shit talker.
He does a very good job. Here's what I'll say. I've never seen a president use social media like him. I've also never seen a politician of his level make memes. He's like the first meme president.
Yeah, the one that I sent you.
Oh, they're pretty funny. They're hard not to laugh at.
If you have a personality, it's hard not to laugh at.
Yeah, even if you don't like Trump, you can at least laugh at it because it's funny that it's happening. But regardless, I think I'm super excited for November. I think it's the first debate is in June and the second one is in...
That I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up.
I think the first debate's in June. So I would, oh my gosh, we should probably get together for that.
We should just do a live viewing party or something.
That
and
would
stream that on YouTube.
That might be a good idea.
Target will be lowering prices on at least 5,000 frequently shopped products across its assortment, ranging from milk to diapers. This is a released report per Reuters. I think that's, you give me your take.
I would say that's a bullish sign. It's bearish signs when prices are reduced are sales, because sales are temporary and they tend to be a backlog of inventory. A restructuring or repricing of items is due to the fact that your cost on those goods are likely lower. You'd like to continue moving those goods at the same pace or higher. So, you're going to lower your cost because you can meet your margins with the product at that price now.
Yeah.
That is indicative that inflation is on its way down. There's that PPI kind of hitting, even though that report wasn't exactly what we were looking for.
Which
but
we'll talk about both of those in a second.
Yeah, but the consumer also that shops at Target is upper, middle, and lower class. And that is a very good pass-through to those consumers. Walmart reported last week, and they reported a huge beat. They did very well, and they were essentially saying that the consumer is not very affected and very strong. And they tend to deal with the lower middle of the consumer class.
Also saw that millennial net worth is at an all-time high right now.
Yep. The parents and grandparents of those people are passing. Assets are getting transferred. And also investing is much more popular for our generation.
Really been commercialized.
Yeah.
And that's one of the...
Same with like real estate investing, right? That's 10 years ago. If we backtrack on both of our industries, they both did not have the prominence that they do today.
Agreed.
And they were in a completely shape and form back then. So to me, I think that people... The most positive thing that happened during COVID was there wasn't time for people to waste, and a lot of people invested in themselves and educated themselves on either real estate or the stock market or both, and how to leverage other people's money, life insurance, nowadays money market accounts. So people are just more educated on that kind of stuff.
Agreed.
And they understand that it's not just hoodoo voodoo. It's actually something that wealthy people do and are successful at doing, and they should probably do it themselves.
Love or hate the internet, love or hate social media. And mind you, we've talked about it here before, you have to be able to discern and sift through the bad advice. But at the end of the day, one of the net positives of the internet, of social media, of access to information is the fact that more and more people are exposed and in proximity to information, has got them thinking about building wealth, financial freedom, earning more, how they allocate their investments in a way that previous generations just weren't invited to think about in the capacity or context that the internet age has opened up. So I think this is really reflecting in this graph right here that we're looking at, and in millennials' net worth, is the fact that with the consumption of that information, the application of it and getting in the game.
And I think people are also, when they apply that information and they educate themselves, I think people are coming to more so nowadays versus back then that having fear or being fearful is not the answer when you don't understand something. Fear is going to be ultimately the biggest robber of anybody's dream that exists. You have to not be fearful if you want to be successful. Luck is a huge part of success as well. But I think people are now educated, so they're less fearful. And now it's, okay, I know I know I need to do something. What do I need to do? Or what do I throw that I know? Yeah. And people are more comfortable getting, buying their first investment property, starting their first investment portfolio, or expanding upon something that they had started but they didn't know it was good for them. And that's where we sit today, and that I think is indicative of why that graph looks that way. I'm pretty sure the sharp upturn was sometime around after 2019.
I thought this was an interesting headline, and if you're one of these people, I would encourage you to bring some awareness to this and get your shit in order, kindly. But hi-fis. Had you ever heard of a hi-fi?
I've heard of a high five.
H-I-F-I. Hi-fis are people...
income, financially independent?
Close. High FIs are people who are high income earners, so high income, financially insecure.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of people.
They're predominantly made up of millennials and Gen Zers who want to exude wealth. So this is one of the negatives, I think, of social media and the internet age, right? Is this image, this facade that so many people feel like that, the flex that they have to put on to be accepted, to be cool, to get followers.
Like really high hairstyles or constantly dyeing your hair certain colors.
Whatever it may be, right? That could be one. And lifestyle creep and inflation is starting to catch up with them and hurting their financial futures.
Yes.
High income earners who feel financially insecure but noted that they can't quit their luxury spending, and in particular on food
and alcohol.
Experience.
Yeah. And if the problem with those people are their income increases and so does their spending.
Yeah.
Versus my income's increased, I'm going to get my investing set up or my lifestyle improvement item set up, which is typically investing. And then if I have extra, I can then spend that because I have discretionary income at that point.
I essentially did not increase my lifestyle until maybe the last few years, but the first 10, 12 years of my investing journey, nothing changed. I still live in the same house outside of buying a new car. 2 years ago, that was the first new car I'd ever had. I've maybe taken a few more trips, maybe go out and enjoy a nicer dinner, a nicer bottle of wine, things like that here and there. But for the most part, as my income increased, my investments increased. Yep. And then over time, as those got aged a little bit more, the income started catching up on those, right? And the passive income components started to allow me to slowly increase my lifestyle because it was the passive income or the asset and the investment income, the dividends, that was paying for that increase in lifestyle. Whereas most people are taking that increase in their vertical income instead of allocating it over towards mailbox money or horizontal income investments. They're putting it towards, I'm just going to spend more at the grocery store. I'm going to go spend more at, the club. And that was another shocking thing to see how much 5, 10, 15 grand you could blow in 2 or 3 hours at some of those day clubs or in some of those nightclubs.
Yeah.
I'm going,
why?
And I'm just going, man, I could put that in my life insurance with Ryan. I could go buy X, Y, and Z. And it's just this weird frame of mind that
it's a hit for them.
It is weird, right? But it's so discouraging when you wake up the next day and go, what the hell was I thinking?
That product exists because there's a consumer for it. Did you see Paulie, our guy from Vegas? Paulie.
Oh, Paulie C?
Paulie C, yeah. Hopefully he listens.
Vegas Paulie C. That's
but he posted the menu at EDC.
Oh, yeah.
A $6-pack.
$150 for a Bud Light?
$160 for a 6-pack of Bud Light.
That's crazy.
And I don't know if that was bottles or cans.
I think it was cans.
So I'm just letting you know that, like, when you
just don't be a hi-fi.
Don't do that because there's no value. I'll put it this way. I have done that a couple times back when I was in college.
So have I.
And I think about it today, and I'm like, man, I wish I would have spent that cash on something else because what it would have been today. But you don't have that hindsight.
I think, too, though, you need that context to go. Like, I remember after doing some of those things and making those terrible decisions and waking up the next day going, what the hell was I thinking? Yeah. And so you can either wise up, and that helped me on my investing journey be a little bit like, don't do that. While I had a bunch of friends going to the clubs and going on all these crazy trips, I was like, I'm going to throw this over here because I know that, and you can sprinkle it in. You can do it to a certain extent, right? But, like, the people that are literally living paycheck to go and spend money on bottle service at the weekend to go have fun with people that don't care about you and you won't know in a decade and aren't going to contribute to your family or your future just to look cool. Yeah. And all of that shit is fleeting, right? So whether that's you or somebody you know, I just feel like it's something to be aware of and to, if you really are committed to building wealth, to unlocking financial freedom, to living the best life you can in the future, don't rob tomorrow for today.
For today.
Yeah.
God, that just gave me goosebumps. Yeah. The one thing I've always loved about us, we don't have to show out or show off.
We don't need to impress anybody.
I mean, I'm wearing Crocs.
And if you have to impress somebody and that is the only way that you can get them to like you, then that's probably not the people you want to be surrounding yourself with long term anyways, right?
Agreed. Yeah, that's not a relationship built on good morals.
So we got some interesting news breaking on our boy who we love and
JD.
like. Mr. Jamie Dimon has noted that he is looking at potentially retiring earlier than planned within the next 5 years.
Yeah. He had been saying it's every time he got asked that question, he would respond in a perpetual 5 year, meaning like every time you ask me, I'm going to tell you in 5 years from now, I'll think about it 5 years.
Right.
And now I believe he gave the indication that it's going to be under 5 years and we're already moving people around. And I think he said those two things verbatim.
He did note that he had some successors in mind.
I think it's two at the top of the list, I think, or at least 2 of his top 5 are women, which is great.
I like
Not
that.
saying anything bad about that. That would be really cool to see that, because Jamie Dimon has taken that company from where they were to where they are now. They are the largest bank by assets, consumer deposits, everything.
Whether you like big banks and you're anti this or that,
My feelings.
my thought is when you see someone have the level of success and humility and reason, like he's one of my favorite financial leaders. That is, and obviously we talk about it all the time. Like we don't always agree with what he says or does, but when you see someone do what he did with Chase Bank over the last however many years he's been in that position,
A long time.
and to take it to
multiple
the
decades.
world leader that it is now, and all the different divisions and arms that they have and tentacles they have all over the world, it's freaking impressive.
Yeah, and the thing is that was funny is if he were to step down as CEO, which I'll just say when he does, he's still going to maintain a position on the board or a chair position at some level, probably be chairman, because they don't want to let that go. Smart companies don't say, okay, thanks for your help, we'll take it from here. They say, hey, as long as you want to stick around and guide us, because maybe you're not the CEO, there's somebody else, but we still would love to have your input on items, because nobody can be inside somebody's brain.
I wonder if because he's still young enough to where I can't imagine a guy like
68.
that wanting to sit around on his hands, and he's going to probably go in some high level position or sitting on boards.
Sit on boards.
And
they'll sit on boards. That's what they normally do.
But
maybe get more involved in politics.
That's my prediction. I think because he has got this very reasonable kind of bipartisan approach to what he does, and he's good at, hey, I didn't like what Trump said there, and da-da-da, and here's why, right? Or, hey, the Biden administration is screwing the pooch here, and da-da-da, and this and that, right? Like, he's always does a good job of kind of playing both sides relatively well. So I'm curious to see what he does there. But this week we have FOMC minutes.
Yeah, tomorrow. Ooh.
What are we expecting to hear from Papa Powell? And maybe before you dig in on that, let's recap last week.
Sure.
Because we had to record a day early. PPI was coming out on Tuesday.
Yep.
CPI was coming out on Wednesday.
Yep.
Initial claims, continuing claims, housing starts, building permits, and retail sales data were coming out on Thursday. And
Wally World.
What did we hear on PPI on Tuesday and CPI on Wednesday?
PPI was hot.
And what does that mean?
I believe it was a 0.2, 0.3 expected, and we had a 0.5 print. Don't quote me. I'm just trying to remember last week, plus all the stuff I've got lined up for this week. But that wasn't the most important number. The thing that was more people were like hanging their hat on was the CPI, because that's more consumer.
Which came in cooler.
Which came in
it was
cooler than expected.
Which was good.
Which was very good. Then we rolled into initial claims, higher. Then we roll into building starts and building permits.
Even though that was bad news, it's essentially good news for rate cuts.
Correct. Then we hit a miss on building permits and housing starts. But housing starts was higher than last time it was reported, just below expectations. That's good. Home builders need to catch up. Inventory catching up is good. Then we had, what was the other one?
And then we have sales, consumer spending.
Yeah, retail sales that included auto were not great, but when they excluded auto, which is like the core, because auto sales are very volatile, it was actually a beat or in line.
Consumer spending was up a little bit.
Consumer spending was up, and then Walmart reported a beat and gave positive guidance. Plus, they gave an indication that they're seeing the lower middle class and middle class consumers still purchase at record paces and good levels. So
what did the market
looking
say?
good for the crash boys?
And what did I want to say? How did the market respond to that data last week?
S&P, Dow, Nasdaq, Dow and S&P hit all-time highs,
which was what 40,000 plus.
Yeah, 40,000 plus for the Dow. It's retracted from that since then. But today on the market close, Nasdaq and S&P both hit record highs and closed. Tomorrow, if we have the two big catalysts of the week or FOMC minutes, they're going to probably be very vanilla pudding.
They're not going to give too much.
No, they're not. They're going to say the same thing in a different order and probably indicate that they're data dependent. If they say anything dovish, it'll send the market higher than it's probably already going to go. If they say anything hawkish, it'll probably stall or hinder an up move in the market, because the other thing that people are really looking at is Nvidia. And if Nvidia reports positive earnings, that is very good for the AI catalyst that is going on. And I think that's going to be our kind of one of our main horses we ride here for the next 5 to 10 years is the AI.
AI boom, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of companies in that space. We have exposure to most of them. I think that Nvidia is one of the top 3. Microsoft is a good play in that space. Apple. Pretty much everybody is getting into the AI ordeal.
It's not going away.
No,
and it's only going to attract more and more people into the space.
Agreed.
It's only going to continue to evolve.
Agreed. And it shouldn't be scary for people like AI is going to take your job. It just really can't. It doesn't have common sense or
kind of
human
the same
touch.
thing as the internet, right?
And they need people to run AI.
Landscape.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a new sandbox that people are just going to have to learn how to play in and use new tools.
Horse farms were really scared when the car came out, right?
Yep.
But we figured it out and just created a new industry from it. So I'm extremely looking forward to tomorrow. If we get positive news, it's going to be a very good week, I think, and we should set more record highs on all 3 major indexes.
Well, I would not want to miss the opportunity to update on last week GameStop, AMC. A lot of the meme stocks were going nuts.
Yeah, and I think
they were going nuts, and you said what?
What we said was spot on. I said hedge funds are going to get in this week, let it ride a little bit more, and rip it down to the floor. And here we are today, and that's exactly what happened.
So GameStop was up at what, 66, 68 or something like that a share?
It traded in a range as high as 64 and some change. That means that that price sat there. I don't think it had a close ever that high. I don't know. I wasn't following it that close. But it's back down to the 20s, and it was in the high teens when this whole thing started.
So basically, a few people made out fat, and anybody that got in on that meme stock and decided to hodl and diamond hands
institutions
got crushed.
Yeah, institutions and hedge funds are the only ones that have that amount of money to move in those big of blocks. So yeah, institutions, short sellers, and smart money, which is the spread that's still there is retail investors that are holding on still. This is all speculation.
And the spread is what?
Very few. $6 a share, maybe.
Nothing too.
Is it a 30-ish% gain? Sure. But you could have been up 400, 500% by selling, but people don't want to do it because they think the same thing's going to happen again. And what they don't understand is the COVID money ain't floating around. There's not enough retail money to fight the hedge funds anymore, or yet again. I don't want to say anymore. And so it's good to see it lose wind out of itself pretty quickly, because that kind of stuff's not really good for the market. And it gets people in that are new to investing, and then they get burnt. And so then they don't want to do it again because they think that's how it works. And that's not how it works. That's the equivalent of going and put your money in a slot machine.
Of course, we continue to hear recession, boom, recession.
I love it when
boom.
They say recession.
Piper Sandler's Nancy Lazar warned of tighter credit. And the full fallout from the Fed's rate raise. Unemployment has jumped now in 19 states, making a national recession almost inevitable, according to Lazar. The economy is flashing warning signs that suggest a downturn is on its way, according to David Rosenberg. The economist pointed to a weakening job market and a slowdown in manufacturing activity. You've got State Street Equity. Their top research chief said the Fed will spark an economic crash by delaying rate cuts. As of right now, statistically, we're looking at September holding a 65% chance of a 25 basis point BIP cut.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on all of this talk?
How's that working, Nancy? I think that it's just a bunch of silly bag pushing by people that made ill decisions, and so they're screaming from their highest hill to save their outflows from their clients. That's what I think. It's obviously, we've been in a bull market now for almost 18 months, and it doesn't look like it's going to slow down anytime soon. We may have a multi-year, almost up to a decade, if things work out the way that they're looking right now. AI being the catalyst. We have a catalyst to do that.
Yeah. How does debt tie into all this? Because obviously we're at an all-time high in national debt.
I showed you the chart. If they adjust interest rates, it gets right back into line.
Yeah.
It's those charts that a lot of people are looking at assume if interest rates stay where they're at for a long time, which they're not.
Is there any likelihood? I've heard more and more people say, if inflation continues to uptick, or is the Fed going to hold, or some people are going, they got to raise rates?
No, they literally just said in the last meeting they're not even considering raising rates. They verbatim said that.
Could they retract that?
Sure, they could, but they haven't retracted anything that they've said thus far, and they've been very data dependent, and the data would support that there's no reason for rate hikes. We have,
if anything, they would just hold longer.
Yes, yep. Which people are bitching and moaning about us being at like 3.5 on
we talked
2.8% on PCE, when historically, which is like a stone's throw away from where we want to be.
Yep.
And historically, those are levels that we are normally at. People get way too caught up looking at their nose and don't think farther than that. And that's again, I love it when this environment exists. People that are smart enough to listen to me and my team that invest make a lot of money in times like this, because
let's just
silly people do not take advantage of this. And oh my gosh, we can buy stuff that's going to be, in 5 years, we'll look back and laugh at how cheap stuff is. Apple trading sub 200 right now. Microsoft's trading sub probably around, it should be around the 5 to 550 range, 500 to 550 range. You have so many things trading well below fair value just from price to book or price to earnings. Not even on anything that more than they actually have financials that support their stock price should be higher. It is fishing season, and I have a fucking troll net. And I am pulling in.
Let's just say I went and logged into my account the other day, and your boy was happy.
Yeah, your account's doing very well.
Percentage-wise, obviously, you and I are a little bit more aggressive, but
yeah, you're averaging over in the teens.
Yeah, it's been a very nice year. Now, U.S. home prices have soared 47% so far this decade, outpacing all of the growth seen in the 1990s and the 2010s.
That ain't gonna slow down until inventory.
And to give an update on inventory, also Altos reports that, active single-family inventory was up 1.7% week over week, continuing to climb each week. Inventory is now up 17% from the February high and down 36.4% compared to the same week in 2019.
Broke 60. Here we go.
So
on our way to 70.
Lawrence Yoon, NAR's chief economic officer, always great at putting out his thoughts on data. And he's been relatively spot on with most of his stuff. Noted that April's completions were the second highest month tally at 1.62 million units. So we're now getting more deliveries of more housing inventory as well. So you can expect apartment vacancy rates to trend a little bit higher, rents to slow down, and more home buyers able to buy newly constructed homes.
Rent slowing down is going to be huge.
That's a good thing.
Shelter
if your
data is hurting right now. So,
yeah.
So
it'll be very interesting to see what this next month's, at least May's data reports. I'm very interested to hear what FOMC and kind of the sentiment they give out, but I think you're spot on, right? They're going to say the same thing in a few different ways of wording it.
I wish they'd come out and be like, rate cuts, but this, and mark my words, right when they give indication of rate cuts, you're going to start hearing a lot more people say the phrase melt up. You're going to hear people start complaining that they're going to say they're too early, and that's how you know they're right on time.
There you go. And obviously, we have the contrarian kind of outlier looking mindset. We don't buy into the clickbait. We don't buy into the headline news. We don't buy into the fear mongering. If you're playing wealth building, the game for the long term, right? These are the ultimate seasons that you get ahead when everybody else is sitting on the sidelines in fear. So obviously that is making negligent, bad, uneducated, non-data driven decisions. Those things are, data is out there for a reason. So it can give you an edge. It can give you a little bit of that crystal ball. It can help you make more educated decisions. And again, if you're playing this long term and you're dollar cost averaging your way through, whether that's on real estate investments, metaphorically the equivalent to what dollar cost averaging would be on the stock market side, you're going to come out ahead in the long term. So don't be afraid in these seasons. Lean into your counsel, right? Talk to the right people, be in the right conversations. That's why we love to invite you to join us each and every week for these types of talks on Money Moves. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy what we share, what we talk about, all we ask, take 60 seconds, leave a review. And of course, don't forget to check out the free financial x-ray that Ryan and his team do by texting the word x-ray to 844-447-1555. If you're an accredited investor, you want to get on my deals list, you want to know what deals I'm investing in, you can text the word deals to that same phone number, deals, to 844-447-1555. Don't forget to check out millionairemycast.com for show notes, links, resources, and all the great stuff that we have in the store for you guys, calculators, trackers, checklists, all that great stuff. Again, we appreciate you for tuning in. And of course, don't forget to check in with us next week. Until then, keep investing in yourself and your wealth on your march to $1 million and beyond. Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.